Welcome to the Tell Us Ellis podcast.
Okay, this is take 2 from yesterday's podcast. I posted it yesterday, but had spoken about us getting cut off and not getting all of our picks in and a lot of great football talk. So we got it back. So I'm just reposting this as episode, I think 9.5 maybe. So hopefully you enjoy it. I will say that I was able to watch Saturday night's main event. So if you listened to the intro yesterday, it talked about how it was coming up, John Cena's last match. Well, it was on yesterday. Cena loses to Gunther by submission, which is kind of surprising, although I think it's his humble way of saying, hey, I'm not going to win my last match. I'm going to give it to somebody who is an up and comer. And Gunther is clearly a great wrestler, great heel character. So he did that, but kind of an uninspiring ending. I don't know. The whole feel was just a little weird. They did have some guests in the audience and so forth, not to the degree that I had hoped it would be. But overall, it was just a kind of C show, I would say. The tag team match was really good. Javon Evans is a future superstar in WWE. I think Obafemi against Cody Rhodes was really interesting. Of course, it ended in a no contest due to interference. But Obafemi's going to be a huge star. And then Sol Ruka defeating Bailey was pretty interesting. But again, just overall, I thought it was a show. And I kind of feel like Cena, it's just my opinion on him. I know some people love him. And he was a great workhorse and really, really important wrestler for WWE. But again, getting back to this podcast, Kevin and I are going to talk about a lot of football happenings, pro football happenings, quarterbacks, pick the games, all of it. So without further ado, let's get into take 2 of this podcast. It feels like it's been a while, but I guess it's been a little over a week, but my goodness, a lot has happened. Let's start with college football. Let's talk about the playoff really quick. I mean,
Yeah.
I will tell you that I was disappointed that Notre Dame didn't get in. I really have a trouble understanding it. I mean, we talked about it. How do you have a 3-loss Alabama team go in? And you kept saying it, you can't let a 3-loss team in. But what I keep hearing is, well, it was a week 0 loss to Florida State. And then it was a conference championship loss. How do you reconcile that? I don't get it.
Yeah, I think I think it's like one of those things. Every time you think you have the answer, they change the question. You can't use last year. Every year is going to be its own precedent, I think, is what we're learning, right? Last year doesn't mean anything. The cases and situations are all in real time, right? Like it's right now. So what they did last year, I think, and I think that's where some people want to go back and say, well, they did this, and then they said this, and they said, I think every case has to be looked at differently. To the week 0 thing, if we're going to give people credit and boost for winning, you got to get negative for winning or for losing, right? And I think the conference championship's the same thing. I know not everybody has one, but if you're in the game and you're going to give somebody a bump because they win the game, you certainly can give somebody, take something away from somebody if they lose. Alabama knew they had to win that game, right?
Especially if it's their 3rd loss. I mean,
Yeah.
if it's their first loss, okay, I get it. Their 3rd loss, it just doesn't feel right. And again, you saw the committee doing some planning there ahead of time when they jumped Notre Dame in that 1 week when it made no sense. And I think I even said it to you. I'm like, they did that because if they lose to Georgia, they're going to keep Alabama right there. And that's what happened. Now, I will say, when you look at it, when you look at the bracket, Miami's kind of excited that they're in because they can be a good football team, and I wouldn't want to play them. That's for sure. So
yeah, I agree.
So I get it. Even Alabama, I mean, they're a good football team. I'm not upset that you have a Tulane in there, that you have a James Madison in there, because that was the rules. Like those
Those
are
are the
hard
rules.
rules. That's right. You
Yeah.
can't argue that.
Yep.
But I don't know. I think it'll be fun to watch. I'm excited to watch it. Boy, I'll tell you, around here, Kevin, the Hoosiers beating Ohio State. I mean, it's incredible. I can't tell you how many people around here. It's just like everybody goes to Ohio or to Indiana, just like everybody there goes to, well, not everybody, but Penn State is very a frequent destination. So that football game, that was unbelievable.
It was a great football game. I think it was a coming out party for Indiana, right? I think if you never recognized them before, you have to now.
Yeah.
And I think you're going to. Signetti, the guy is cut differently. And his kids love to play for him.
Did you ever run into him as a coach?
Oh,
Because
but
he was a Pennsylvania
I think
guy.
yeah. Oh, yeah. IUP. He had a long run at IUP, which I think Harold Brister
Yeah,
played for him at IUP.
yeah. Harold Brister went to high school with us. Yeah, I didn't realize. I forgot about that. He is.
Yeah.
He's a different mold. I hope they didn't let everything on the field because they played hard, and I'm glad they have these 3.5 weeks off because they're going to need it.
Yeah, we were talking about that game. I was with some guys, football guys, and we were really trying to figure out if you're Ohio State, you haven't won the Big Ten for a while, right? Is that the end all be all? Like if you had this group of plays that you practiced all season that you've never shown on film, are you going to show it in the Big Ten championship game, or are you going to use it for the playoffs? And so I think Indiana was in a position where they were willing to show their cards. They were willing to get that win to try to secure the easiest path in the playoffs. And I think they showed more. Ohio State's the one that I have questions on. Like, what did they show? Great football game.
Yeah.
Really, really, that was like a 1 and a 1A, right? And that was my only question was how truly important was it to Ohio State?
It's a good point, and it does make you wonder how important those conference championship games are. And, you don't have teams saying, I'm just not going to play in it. I mean, we haven't seen that yet, but there was no benefit to Ohio State, right? Really no benefit to Indiana either, at the end of the day, other than they want to claim the Big Ten championship. That was big to them. That was important to them.
I think the real question is, Jamie, and we got to start really thinking about it. Are conference championship games worth anything anymore?
Yeah, it brings in money. So I find it hard that the conferences would want to get rid of them. But, I don't know what you do with it. I really don't. There could be a day where you have a 16-team field and somehow maybe it does mean something more. I don't know. Like, you knew in this situation, both Indiana and Ohio State were in no matter what. If they weren't playing as well, let's say this was number 1 Georgia against number 6 Alabama, it means something more, right? So it just feels like a perfect storm in a way, but then again, I could see it happening again in the future. I mean, although we have these 5 super conferences, let's be honest, the ACC doesn't feel like a super conference right now.
No.
The Big 12, I mean, yeah, they're okay, but it's really Big 10 and SEC. You're probably going to get 2 teams in the top 4 there. So let me ask you one other question. Mendoza from IU, is he the Heisman winner? Or
tough to argue with.
Yeah.
He's an interesting cat leading that team. He's got that oh shucks, gee williker.
To be honest, he was a little awkward on the stage afterwards. I don't know if you saw him, but he was and it's good. Like, it's good to show emotion. Like, he was in tears and stuff, but man, I mean, this guy could be the number 1 pick in the NFL.
Yeah, he's not like he's not like Johnny Be Good, the quarterback movie, right? Like,
Oh boy, that's one from the past.
Yeah, he's just a little bit of a different dude. I think he's a winner. I think he is the Heisman Trophy winner. Just had a great, solid season.
Yeah, you just can't cry after every game like that,
No, but whatever makes that dude tick, I think is what Cignetti would say. I mean, can you imagine him and Cignetti in a room together talking? Like, I don't even know what that sounds like.
Cignetti, he was at JMU, right? James Madison. He kind of built that program probably to what it is right now. But yeah, what a coach. I mean, just old school, hardcore Western Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
love it.
And his teams reflect that style of football. I think when you play Indiana, you're in a football game. It's going to be physical. It's going to be tough. And that's who he is. I mean, his team sort of imitates their coach.
Yeah. Some of the other teams, Oklahoma makes the playoff, and that wasn't a surprise. But boy, if there's a team out there that's maybe overhyped or overranked, I just don't. Oklahoma means nothing to me. I don't know.
Seems flat, right?
Yeah.
It just seems. I understand what you're saying. I feel sort of the same way. It just feels like, I don't know. Watch them go on a run.
Yeah.
Watch them end up lighting it up.
Yeah, I mean, they have Alabama in the first game, and that's at Oklahoma. So,
which is a great matchup for them.
It is.
Right?
It really is. And then that winner goes to play IU. So all these things I've said about Alabama probably comes back to hurt me at some point. James Madison and Oregon.
Have you seen the JMU social media posts?
No.
They're outstanding. They're like, this Oregon team looks a little bit better than we anticipated, or the discrepancy between talent is a little greater than we thought. But they're making it sound like Oregon is on the short end of the stick, like they're going to pound Oregon. I'll look them up for you, but it was really well played. It was smart. It was funny. And those are the only problems, right? Like, we keep talking about Tulane and Ole Miss and stuff, and that's the fear of week one.
Yeah.
That we just, one of those games has to be good.
Yeah. You've got Tulane at Tulane, Ole Miss is the other one where you have a conference winner that maybe, I mean, I'm not taking anything away from Tulane, but that game, along with James Madison, Oregon, they have a chance to be a little bit one-sided. But then you look at Alabama, Oklahoma, and you look at Miami and Texas A&M, boy.
Now that could be the game that saves week one.
Yeah.
Now, Alabama, Oklahoma can't be sloppy. Alabama cannot go out there and be sloppy.
No.
Because that's just going to open up the door for why are they even in this, right? If Alabama loses and they lose sort of, say they lose by 21.
Yeah.
I don't know. What are you going to say? You're going to have to answer to that.
Yeah. But good first round matchups all around. I mean, even James Madison, Oregon, it'll be fun.
I'll watch them all. Right?
Absolutely. Watch them all. Kevin, there was some other news between the last time we met. Penn State has their coach.
I couldn't be more excited for Penn State. I mean that.
Yeah. Matt Campbell comes over. He's a Midwest guy. You told me a little bit about him. What do you know?
Well, he's from the Mount Union coaching tree, which if you've never looked it up, look it up. Soriani's part of it, but I'm going to mess up his last name. I think it's Larry Karras it was the head coach at Mount Union for a number of years.
Feel about Mount Union?
Not a big fan, Jamie.
So they had this long win streak, right? I remember reading about it in the USA Today. Did you play them?
Yeah, we played them twice. And
okay.
The year we played them and I was a junior, I played against this guy named Jim Ballard for Mount Union.
Okay.
Jim Ballard at that time had been visited by every NFL franchise. He did his own ESPN commercial. You know where he used to do the did-in-it. He had a commercial.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
What happened to him?
He went and played 4 years for the Bills, and he played 10 years in Canada. But I mean, he was a Division III quarterback that obviously wasn't a Division III quarterback. But Mount Union has a long history of taking players. If you remember back then, you couldn't bounce, right? Division I to Division I. There was no transfer portal. Right. What you could do is go down. And so say you were at Ohio State or Miami of Ohio, Eastern Michigan, Western Michigan, all those teams out there, and you didn't want to play again for them, you could go down to Mount Union. and you
Okay.
essentially be guaranteed to play for a great coach in a great system. Know you'd have a good run in the playoffs and a chance to win a national championship, and then you could leave and go up the next year. So,
would they get good crowds at those games? I mean,
yeah,
I would assume so.
when we played them, we played at Mount Union 1 year. And when we played there, I mean, it was a show. The guy who did the guy who called the games was the voice of the Cleveland Cavaliers. Like, they're big fish. They're big fish in maybe what you would call a small fish bowl. It's a big deal. And they were just a really, really tough team and a great program. Definitely worth looking it up. But they produced a ton of coaches from former players.
So you like them for the Penn State fit? You don't think this was a hey, this is the best we could get? Like, he's the real deal, even if he wasn't their number one choice.
Yeah, make no mistake about it. I don't think he was.
Yeah.
But I know Iowa State also because I follow West Virginia and they've been in the Big 12. Iowa State's been a huge thorn in my side for a long time. They're a tough team. And to use a baseball expression, they're definitely a tough out.
Yeah.
Much like a Signetti, you're playing an Iowa State team. It's going to be a lot of run. It's going to be a physical defense. It's going to be physical in the blocking scheme. And to me, he fits what I remember Penn State being. Really good tight end, really good running back, great offensive line, play action passing. That's the Penn State football that I know and sort of want to see again. And I think Campbell's a guy that can do it. I like he's bringing some staff with him, probably going to bring some players. But if you think for a second that he isn't going to hit the ground running in that atmosphere with that school, if you can get a kid to go to Iowa State, you can get a kid to go to Penn State, right?
That's a good point. Did you happen to hear the video clip of the Penn State athletic director, Pat Kraft? Did you listen to it?
Cringeworthy.
I mean, I will say this though. He's a guy like that I want to go into battle with. I mean, he is serious about winning. He is I've criticized Penn State a lot, just the system itself, not even the football system, but just how they've kind of treated football ever since Paterno was let go. And it feels like they treat it with kid gloves a little bit and not I don't want to say they don't have a seriousness to it, but it's not we are going to go and kill it. Like it just felt a step back. So it was cringeworthy, but it was also funny. I mean, he was, talking about like Oregon. And he's like, those guys are no good. Those guys are no good. It was, and the 50 F-bombs he dropped. It was probably more than 50.
He's definitely, like, you get the impression like he's definitely a competitor, right? Like you said, he's a guy that you can get you fired up and probably is a great locker room speech guy. He didn't handle this well. I think someday we're going to know the true story. I think it was a personality conflict. I think him and Franklin had some issues. And I think, if anything, Kraft may have let his emotions get ahead of him in decision making. Could have been horrible. It worked out really well. I'm just really excited. I think after all the Penn State went through to get Campbell is steal. It could be something you look back on and say this was the moment. You were talking about Penn State and how they take football. Yeah. That's always been a big topic. For me, is winning important? They're going to sell that stadium out. People are going to tailgate. They're going to have fun. Man, you go to an SEC game and you see some young girl in her 20s screaming, run the effing football. Yeah. Like, they're football fans. I think up here we do events. Football is an event for us. It's not life or death in Penn State.
In that Kraft video, one of the players was saying how hard it is. He's like, we've got to recruit in the middle of nowhere. And it's not like Ohio State that's in the middle of Columbus. Now, it's also not, Alabama where's Alabama? Not Tuscaloosa. Is it
Hmm.
Tuscaloosa?
Yeah.
That they're kind of in the middle of nowhere from what I understand too, but I do get that piece of it, that maybe it's not as desirable of a place to go to, but let's be honest, it's not like Penn State hasn't had terrible recruiting classes. I mean, they get the kids. I just think I remember after Paterno that the athletic director, there was some discussion about, hey, we want Penn State to be more like an Ivy League school, like more like, hey, we're going to really, really work on education for these kids. And football is going to be secondary, but it's going to be great because we're going to get these great crowds and we're going to do okay. And it's kind of felt like what it's been.
Yeah. How do you get that back? What changes? Maybe Campbell is the change. I don't know, but uh, it is a feeling that Penn State has to make a decision to sort of continue down that path, or start to make some moves with the football. I agree with you, Jamie. It just seems like Penn State took their eye off the ball of something that was really important to that school and the identity, and hopefully they find it again.
Well, another school that's going to be looking for some type of identity is probably Michigan right now.
Ooh, yeah, wow. The things like you just, I don't know, man. Are you surprised by anything anymore? Like the craziest stuff comes up, and here we are, like, and for me, this story came out of left field. I'm like, what? Excuse me?
It shocked me. Uh, First of all, I was shocked he was fired. I found out maybe a couple hours later, but then it was all like, yeah, he had this relationship and then he was arrested. And
It just kept going downhill.
yeah, I don't know, you know, we can't put ourselves in that position. We don't know everything that transpired and how it went down and stuff like that. But you get a guy like that who has this dream job, right? He landed into this dream opportunity and his world was shattered, granted, by a decision that he made, which was an ill-advised decision. But then to take that and, look, he was suicidal. Things can trigger that, I'm sure. But he went into the house and he started grabbing a butter knife. I mean,
Yeah.
Kevin, I'm gonna go
There's
for
better
something.
ways to do things.
I'm gonna go for something a little heavier. I'm not gonna go for the
Yeah,
butter knife.
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But it's just an awkward story. I don't know if you saw the video of him yesterday in jail, and it's like I just can't believe it.
Yeah, and here, he's not 40 years old yet.
Oh, I didn't. Oh, that's incredible.
I
I didn't
think
know that.
39, if I saw it correctly. 39, he's making like $8 million a year, $6 million a year, guaranteed for 3 more years. He like it's just
That's
unfathomable.
crazy.
Like
I, I know. I don't know. I really don't know what to say about it. My my fear out of all of this is that it gets Michigan a premier coach, a Kalen DeBoer or someone like that.
why not
Because
Brian Kelly?
uh,
Seriously,
and
why not Brian Kelly?
I mean, I would actually be happy with that. I think, considering
Well, I mean, he's a big name. They're going to have to make a splash. And
hasn't he kind of left his mess kind of where he's been? I mean, I don't know.
I don't like the guy. We talked about
Yeah,
it before. I don't like the guy, but it did dawn on me that there is a guy out there that's a CEO and can run an organization. I don't know if it's a long term, like he seems to have a shelf life.
yeah, but he can win. I mean,
Yeah.
he's done it before. Well, he's done very well before. The other name I hear is Kenny Dillingham. I don't know if that's what's going to come of that. Is it still the premier job? I mean, assume it is. It's what, 2 years, 3 years removed from a national championship. Granted, that was with Harbaugh. It's the University of Michigan. It's a dream job, right?
I think it's one of those jobs. Yeah.
Well, why don't we flip our attention to the NFL? I think we've covered the NCAA football quite a bit. Let's talk about last week, and it was a week that started with that Cowboys Lions game on a Thursday. I think we talked about it. We were pretty excited about it. Boy, the Lions looked really good. Gibbs, holy cow, guy's unbelievable.
Yeah, he's special. Special.
That may put a damper on the Cowboys' playoff hopes. The Lions still alive there. So yeah, the Lions won that one 44-30. Daniel Jones, I've got to talk about it. You know, he was playing hurt to begin with. Colts go down to Jacksonville, haven't won there in like 10 years. And Jones' first pass of the game's intercepted. And I'm like, holy shit, here we go again. Like, this is unbelievable. And then tears his Achilles. It's awful, man. That's just awful.
Yeah, it is. The season he was having, and you know, obviously that Jacksonville game was huge, right?
It's huge.
It was a huge game for Jacksonville. It was a huge game for the Colts, and played in a monsoon.
Played in a monsoon. Yep.
That Achilles, man.
What's going on there, Kevin? Why are all these athletes getting Achilles? This never happened back in our day, right?
I think it has something to do with, I call it field turf, the new turf that they have. And I do think there's something to be said for that they have to look into. It was meant to never let your knees stick into the ground. Like your feet would always just slide just a little bit. And I'm not so sure if that isn't having a negative effect on another part of the body, which would be the Achilles, because they seem to be everywhere, right? It would be an interesting stat to see in the last 2 years, the number of Achilles injuries that we've seen, because I would think the number would be high and would be surprising.
It's interesting though. It's also in basketball.
I want to say I'm not a doctor though.
You play one on TV. Wasn't that your major? Pre-med?
Well, political science or pre-med, and I had to make a decision quick, and so I went political science.
Well, I actually could have seen you in the White House probably more than a doctor, but Kevin, it's happening in basketball too. Like Kevin Durant a couple years ago, Tyrese Halliburton, and now every time you hear calf strain, you're like, oh no, like what? Like that's not good. That player better rest for 4 weeks, 5 weeks, whatever it is. But yeah, it's interesting. I was talking to David Buckler, one of our friends, about it. He said the same thing. He's like, growing up, like it just never happened. I remember when Vinny Testaverde with the Jets tore his Achilles one time, but that was the only.
I remember Dan Marino had it, and Tom Brady had it. Dan Marino and Tom Brady. Brady's was contact though.
Yeah. Okay.
His was contact. Dan Marino's, I'm trying to think, because I just remember, the reason I remember that as a kid was that they were gone. They were out for the year. Like, it's over. And I'm like, what? Like, you know, the NFL's a long season. No, it's a year to recover. It's, you know what I mean?
A year to recover. And then do you have to wear that boot like Marino did? Because Marino wore that boot. What was that? I mean,
it was like a custom made snowshoe in Miami.
Unbelievable. Well, thank goodness we have Phillip Rivers. He can just jump right in for the Colts. Announced the starter today. I don't know if you know that. He's announced the starter against the Seahawks this week. So if you want to change your picks when we make our picks, just know it will be Phillip Rivers at quarterback.
What a funny story. The guy has like, what, 8 kids? They're all boys. They're quarterbacks. This is probably going to keep number 11 from coming out this time away. Like, what a competitor to go in there, and there's going to be guys in there that weren't born yet. He was in the NFL.
He's
like, if you're 20 old, if you're 21 years old or you're 22 years old, and you're in the NFL, you weren't alive when he played in the NFL, not college.
It's funny. It's incredible. If you, this was kind of a side thing that I saw on social media. He and Matt Stafford are like neck and neck for all-time passing yards. So Stafford's probably pissed. He's probably like, what the hell? Like I was about to pass him, and now Rivers came back just to keep me going. I don't know what to think about it. It'll be interesting. Look, Seattle's a good team, so I don't expect a Colts win, but I will. It keeps me watching, and I have to give the credit that, you know, he does have ties with Steichen. Steichen, I think, was the quarterback coach or had an offensive coaching position with the Chargers back when he played. And of course, he has familiarity, Rivers, with the Colts. He played with Pittman and some of the other receivers. But yeah, going to Jacksonville is not a good thing for the Colts. Not a good thing.
Yeah, how about it? There's some history there. But back to Rivers. It's interesting. You look at a Flacco, right? You look at an Aaron Rodgers. You look at a Tom Brady. I think the game slows down so much for those guys that they feel like they have such control that they're not going to get hurt. They know how to throw a ball away. They know what their internal clock should feel like, what's taking too long. And I think the one position that you could do it and step in it is quarterback.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When you
Go ahead.
When you look at Aaron Rodgers, you're right. He makes it look easy. He takes the ball back, takes a couple of steps, looks more poised in the pocket than anybody I've ever seen in my life, and just kind of surveys the field and throws it where he wants. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if Rivers, if he's a little more panicky out there. I mean, he hasn't even had a week of practice.
Nothing would surprise me with that guy. You know what I mean? He's one of the greatest. And he always had a fire to him.
Yeah.
Like some guys are cool and collected. He's like one of the best trash talkers in the NFL, by the way. He'll give it to you. And he's funny and he's smart with it, but and if that gets contagious on that team, it may turn out to be Phillip Rivers was exactly what the Colts needed at this moment.
Well, they play Seattle. They have the 49ers at home on a Monday night, and then they have the Texans again and away, and then the Jaguars at home. Still a team that kind of controls their own destiny. It's just they're not trending in the right direction.
And that's a tough schedule.
Yeah, it is.
That's a really tough way to end it.
I watched the Bengals-Bills game. I love the snow game, so it was hard to stay away from. Kevin, the Bengals had that game, and Burrow throws 2 late picks, one of them for a pick 6, and it was uncharacteristic of Burrow. So, number one, I think the Bengals with Burrow would have been a playoff team if he was healthy all year. Another guy that gets injured a lot.
Yeah.
Number two, I just don't understand this Bills team. I mean, it was a big win. It was a nice win, but it took those 2 picks for them to win the game. So where do you think they are?
Yeah, I think there's trouble there that they have to figure out. We're going to get to the Eagles, another team that's in trouble. The Bills, they don't look scary. They don't look explosive. They look sluggish. Their offense looks sluggish, and there's really no reason why. That pick that Burrow threw, that was like a gift. What was that about? And that's like one of the two key plays that turned it in Buffalo's favor. I mean, Buffalo should have lost that game.
Buffalo should have lost that game. Yeah, I don't know what it was. Again, the one pick, maybe I could understand it a little bit, but the other, it just didn't make sense. And now again, Burrow hasn't played for a long time. He's just started coming back. So it was a good game, though. It was a fun game to watch.
Nothing better than sitting in a warm house watching game in the snow for football. It's just a special. I love doing it too.
Buffalo right now sits at 9-4, and if the season ended today, they would be the number 6 seed in the playoffs. Now, huge game against New England this week gives them a chance to get back in the division picture, but you have to think that Buffalo is going to make the playoffs. A team that probably is not going to make the playoffs is the Baltimore Ravens. Boy, I mean, you live close, Kevin. I don't know what Ravens fans are saying, but this is not the same Lamar Jackson. It's like the faux Lamar Jackson or something like that. Or what was Superman? He had the other identity, the bad identity. He's looked terrible.
Yeah. And you and I talked about it. Is it time for a change? It could be. Is it time for Harbaugh to somebody else lead that organization? Is it time for Lamar Jackson to maybe find someplace else? That guy's a question mark, right? Like, why can't he get over the hump? Why can't he get over the hill and be a great quarterback instead of an exciting, fun quarterback to watch? Why can't he be one of those great quarterbacks?
Yeah, in the past, he was a really great regular season player, and then was not good in the playoffs. Now he's not playing well enough. I will say, and I don't know if you watched the end of that game, that one pass at the end, like I don't understand what a completion is anymore. He threw a pass into the end zone, player catches it, held it, and for some reason dropped it. Like it wasn't knocked out of his hands. He just kind of dropped it, but it looked like a touchdown to me.
100% it looked like a touchdown to me. Bizarre. I don't have an explanation. I'm sure they gave one. I wasn't at a play. I wasn't somewhere that I could hear,
Yeah.
but I kept seeing it was being shown and I totally put it away. I thought it was a touchdown. What a crazy call.
Script. Yeah. I mean, it flips the script.
Yeah.
They're now 6-7 while the Steelers are 7-6. And again, that would have flipped the script. I say the Ravens aren't going to make the playoffs. They could as a division winner, and they still have Pittsburgh at Pittsburgh later in the season. So still an opportunity out there. Just looking at some other games from last week, the Broncos keep winning. I mean, they beat the Raiders.
They're a fun team to
They are a
watch.
fun team. I'm trying to remember what the spread was on that game because they won by 7 points. And I'm pretty sure that the Raiders kicked a late field goal to end up covering. I think the spread was 7.5. And it was one of those decisions that was like, why would Pete Carroll kick a field goal here? And he kicked it and was like, all right, money on it. But that was good. The Bears-Packers I thought was really interesting. Honestly, it told me more about the Bears than it did the Packers. I think the Bears are for real. Like they lost. We talked about good losses. I'm not saying this was a good loss because it was against the Packers, but they played really well. And there's something to that team. Like I think they're legit in the front half of the playoff bracket right now versus the bottom half.
I think you're right.
Yeah.
I think there's more to the Bears than anybody was willing to give them credit for. Like you sort of just kept waiting for them to have that loss to like come back to earth to show us who they are. And they have it. And like you said, even when they lost, they played well. And so I think but what is it? You're like looking at it. What is it about the Bears? It's like they're just doing everything, all 3 facets of the game. They're playing well. They're not killing it, but they're playing well in all 3 facets. They're not making that mistake that puts them in a bad spot. And
they have good position players, Kevin. Like if you look at it, whether it's Odunze or of course Caleb Williams, but it's interesting. If you look at them, even though they're 9-4, Kevin, they are in the 7th seed right now of the playoffs. At 9-4, they're the 7th seed because the Packers are 9-3. You look at the Bears' remaining games, and again, let me remind you, they're 9-4. Detroit's 8-5, right behind them. Chicago still has to play the Browns this weekend. Okay, that's a plus. They finish the year, Packers at home, at the 49ers, and the Lions at home. I mean, that's to be decided. They could be on the outside looking in. They've got to win. Certainly, they have to beat the Browns. If they lose to the Browns, that's trouble.
At the same time, though, they control their destiny, right?
They would absolutely control their destiny, which is what you want, right?
I think so. I think if you're a coach and you're a player, I think that's what you want. You want that schedule ahead of you so you can take care of business and get to the playoffs comfortably.
I think I like how they run the ball. They're kind of hard nosed. But again, wish they would have won if you're a Chicago fan, obviously, but I don't think it was a terrible loss. A terrible loss would have been what the Eagles had. Did you go back to your Eagle? What was it? Fly Eagle Fly Club or whatever you were at?
The York Bird Gang.
Yeah. Were you back at it that Monday night or no?
No. I was actually with Scotty Watson, and
we were from high school.
Yeah, we were watching a game in Florida, and the Eagles are a tough watch. They just are not an easy team to watch.
I mean, that is not a good loss, and not that the Chargers are a terrible team, but I thought they were going to get healthy there, meaning starting to play better football.
It was important that they did, and they didn't. It didn't happen.
I'm trying to looking at the games for next week. They play the Raiders. They're at home against the Raiders this week. the Raiders are getting 11.5 points. And I'll tell you, that looks pretty good to me. I mean, I'll take the Raiders right now plus 11.5 against the Eagles. I don't care if it's home, away, in Hawaii. Something is not right with that team.
Yeah, and it's starting to really become evident that something's wrong. I think it's something in the locker room.
Well,
They
we question Sirianni, you know. We've talked about that. How long
well,
until no, go ahead. Go ahead.
so everybody I talk to that's Philadelphia fans, nobody can put their finger on it. And when nobody can do that, then I start looking inside the locker room, right? What's wrong there? What's going on? Something's happening. Sirianni can't get it controlled. Big Dom better step in. I mean, that guy's a fixer, right? The guy is a fixer. He better fix it.
Yeah,
because it's needed. I think he can fix it.
He should just run out there with what's Hurts wear, number 11. Go out there and just go under center. Let's see what he can do. He would be better on the offensive line, though.
A big Dom may be the guy that Sirianni should be leaning on to figure out what's going on here, because there's no answers. Can you imagine? Can you imagine the Raiders winning Sunday at 1:00? If it's 4:30 and we're looking at the score and the Raiders win 24-13, they'll burn that city down.
We're going to go live, and it's not going to be talking football. It's going to be covering the city being burned down.
Yeah, absolutely.
How long until they turn to Kyle McCord, the backup quarterback? You think that could be coming?
There's a lot of people. That guy's got a lot. Everybody loves a second string quarterback, right?
Sure. Yeah.
You know, the most popular guy at the party, the cocktail party, you know, is a second string quarterback. Everybody loves that guy. But the York Bird Gang guys are like, I thought it was a joke at first. And the one guy gave me a real hairy eyeball. He's like, no, I'm serious. He's like, I'm serious. That guy can play football. So who knows, man? Maybe Jalen Hurts needs some time to watch. Maybe he needs to take a step back, but I'm not so sure he's 100% the problem. Now, the one thing I will say is he is not throwing the ball on time. He's not putting the ball where it needs to go. His guys are having to reach backwards to catch the ball. They're not catching the ball and running with momentum in the right direction. I have noticed that with him. I've noticed some drops. I've also noticed it seems like they're force feeding A.J. Brown. And sometimes that can be detrimental, right? Like that thing in the back of your head, get him the ball. I got to get him the ball. They're getting him the ball, but it's like 7-yard at a pop. You know, it's not that explosive play.
Maybe Hurts needs to read that book that A.J. Brown was reading. Maybe that would help. Maybe they should have a book club or something. They could learn from one another, gel. You're right. It does look like he's force feeding it. I noticed that a lot in the Chargers game. And I do think as a receiver, like if that receiver's telling you, feed me, like that probably does get in your head after a while. You're right. The passes are behind the receivers. The timing's just off.
Yeah. It's just not clean. It's not, they're not clicking, and they cannot keep a drive alive to save their life. Their 3 and outs are off the charts this year. Their defense is on the field all the time.
The double fumble. That was crazy, right?
Yeah.
Does that count as 2 fumbles? It probably does because they had possession.
Yeah. It renews.
So,
yeah.
So they sit here at 8-5. You know, again, you probably have to feel pretty good about them. Dallas is 6-1. They probably have some room there versus the Raiders, at the Commanders, at the Bills, and then the Commanders at home. Feels pretty safe. Feels
safe, but those interdivision games can get crazy. You know what I mean? You say it's just the Commanders, but it's a hop, skip, and a jump away from Philly, but you know, those guys know each other. And Commanders would be playing for you, and the Eagles are playing sort of for their playoff life. Pressure can be a funny thing. And those divisional games at the end of the season in the NFL, they're always something to be circled.
The Chiefs, are they done? Is that run at least over for this year? Although it does set up for future years. I think there's going to be some big change in Kansas City. They're 6-7. If you look at the playoff standings, they're 10th in the conference at 6-7. They'd have to leapfrog some teams here. I mean, Houston is the 7th and final seed in the playoffs, and they're 8-5. Kansas City 6-7. I mean, that's a 2-game lead. What do you think, Kevin?
I think KC's done. I think the experiment's over. I shouldn't say experiment. They had an unbelievably successful run, but I do think it's over. They're just not scary. They don't have that feel to them anymore. Teams are handling them. They're dropping a lot of footballs.
Yeah.
I think Mahomes has a lot of, could have a lot of beefs. There's some bad drops. Some have resulted in interceptions. Some haven't, but they're drops. And, he's putting the ball where he needs to put it. Kelsey had 2, I think, and 1 resulted in an interception.
Yeah. Tyquan Thornton also, who was a high pick of the Patriots and ended up on Kansas City. And I kind of liked him early in the year. He filled out some spots when the Chiefs were down a couple of players, but boy, there was one in the end zone, which, look, it was a good defensive play, but if you're going to be a superstar receiver, you got to make the play. So there were a lot of drops. I also don't think Andy Reid did them any favors. He went for it on 4th down, questionably. I think they were on their own 30, 35-yard line. Still time to go in the 4th quarter, and I think it was a tie. Maybe it was a tie game. If not, it was
in a weird position in the field, and it sort of like was the dagger. But that's probably pressure, right? That's probably pressure pushing and trying to make something happen because you're just not getting it from the regular sources that you used to. They're done. Just don't. I think you'll see a retirement. I think you'll see some movement on the roster. And that might be all.
Yeah. Well, before we get to our picks for this week, I just want to throw something at you. There were 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 quarterbacks this past week that played in a game, and they are first-year quarterbacks. Not necessarily rookies, because I have J.J. McCarthy on this list, but McCarthy didn't play last year, as you know. So I want to read their names, and you tell me honestly what you think, whether it's, hey, this is a guy that has something and we need to see more of him, or if it's, I have no idea. I know nothing about this guy.
Yeah, let's do it. That's a large number.
It is. I was surprised by it, but as I was watching last week, I'm like, boy, it feels like there's a lot of players out there that this is their first year playing. So first one was Brady Cook. Right? Brady Cook comes out there for the Jets, goes 14 of 30 for 163 yards, 0 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, a passer rating of 35.8. He was undrafted out of Missouri, and he is getting the start again this week. What do you think of Mr. Brady Cook?
I think that's a guy you have to see more of. First time with live ammunition, and you're representing the Jets. You're already behind the 8 ball a little bit. So
I mean, it might not get worse though than Justin Fields. So maybe we could give him a little bit of a chance, see what he can do.
I think 100% for that young man. Yeah.
Let's go to J.J. McCarthy. I mentioned him before. I'm curious your thoughts on him. So last week he actually had a really nice game, 16 of 23. For 163 yards, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. First round pick, number 10 overall. What do you think of McCarthy?
I think if it was today, I don't think he'd be a top 10 pick.
Yeah.
With knowing what I know personally, what I've seen, J.J. McCarthy, that's a guy that I wouldn't have gone first round with. A lot of people said that when he was picked, by the way. A lot of people weren't real high on that guy. And I'm just not.
Felt like a system quarterback in Michigan to me, not so much a superstar quarterback. Maybe he was hanging out with his coach's friends. I don't know. I'll leave it at that. I better not go down that hole.
Who knows what goes on at that Michigan house, that big house.
So Riley Leonard from Notre Dame got playing time, 18 of 29, 45 yards, rushed in for a touchdown, threw a pick. Riley was drafted 6th round, 189 overall. Feels like probably where he should have been drafted.
Yeah, 100%. And I think, excuse me, Jamie, I think he's a roster guy. I think he'll always be a roster guy. I think he's a guy that needs more time. His athleticism can get him out of trouble, can keep plays alive. But, is probably right where he should be at this stage of the game. Want to see more of him.
Yeah. I'll tell you though, part of me would like to if he was in Minnesota, I'd probably say, "Hey, let's give Riley a chance." I think he's a little more athletic than JJ McCarthy, and let's see what he can do. Here's an interesting one for you. Cam Ward. So, Ward in this barn burner of a game against Cleveland last week, the Titans won 31-29. Ward was 14 of 28 for 117 yards, 2 touchdowns and an interception. What do you think about Cam Ward, the number 1 pick overall, right?
Yeah.
Too early, or what do the returns look like for you?
I absolutely am a Cam Ward fan. I'm not a big star guy, and Cam Ward is a kid that overcame not being a star guy. He was not even a 1-star. Played and had a great career at Miami. I think Cam Ward is a guy you want on your team. I don't know about taking him first, but I think you could have waited with him, but I don't think the return on investment is going to be bad. He is a guy that I like. He too is in a tough spot with the Titans, but definitely a guy I want to see more of. And I think out of the guys we spoke about, I think Cam Ward could be a long-time starter once he gets going.
Yeah, you hope he doesn't get hurt. You hope that Tennessee can build something there. I don't know if they have the right coach for him right now, but he has a documentary out there. I don't know if you watched it. I haven't seen it yet, but talked about that story that you said came from nothing and became a star at Miami.
And the first pick of the NFL draft, and he was not a 5-star guy.
Good for him.
Yeah.
Very good for him.
Tough rooting.
So this one didn't play last week, but Jackson Dart, first round pick, 20. I think he was 25th overall to the Giants. Do you like what you see from him?
Yeah, I do. I think he has the it factor, and I thought he had it at Ole Miss, and I do. I like Jackson Dart. I think now there's a dude that's going to have to learn how to slide and not take the hits, right? Like he's playing with big boys now, and he's more valuable to that team on the field than in the blue tent. And so he's got some learning to do and some maturing to do, but I like Jackson Dart. I'm high on Jackson Dart.
He's more like a dart board right now, and they're throwing darts at him. So
and he's sort of taking them.
I like Jackson Dart too. Tyler Shuck for New Orleans. If you look at him, he's actually not playing that poorly. He was 13 of 20 last week, 144 yards.
Did you see his touchdown passes?
Yeah.
Those are NFL throws.
It's interesting if New Orleans would take a quarterback next year, or do you go with Shuck and just see what happens? A kid from Louisville, 2nd round pick. I think he was 40th overall. I like him. He's fun to watch.
You know who's the coach at Louisville?
Yeah. Jeff from
and he knows a lot about quarterbacks, right? I mean, that's probably a guy that's well groomed. But I watched him. I watched that Saints game. I was on Red Zone, and they were just happened to be following the Saints in that possession. I got to watch him, and he looked like an NFL quarterback.
Yeah, something there. They play Carolina this week, and honestly, it's one of the games I'm going to put on my split screen in my 4-quadrant games, because first of all, I want to see Carolina leading their division right now, but I think this game will be interesting. I want to see Shuck. I'm going to throw one more at you. Shedeur Sanders. Shedeur, we know he slipped, 5th round pick, 144th overall. Last week, let me read you his stats. 23 out of 42 for 364 yards, 3 touchdowns and 1 interception.
I mean, and you're talking about quarterbacks, right? I mean, there's fewer people walking this earth that have quarterbacked in an NFL football game regular season. What is that number? It might be 120 of them that walk the earth, right? Like it's a tough thing to do. It's easier to do heart surgery than it is to be an NFL quarterback. So, a lot of different flavors of ice cream, right? A lot of different things in life. Is he my flavor? He isn't. I don't care for a lot of the things that he did at Colorado. I think some of it was self-induced. I think he put himself in some situations. Those stats are, I mean, he's an NFL quarterback, right? Like it's impressive. Could he get there? If he wants to get there, he can. Here's the problem with the NFL. You know what? One of the biggest differences between who makes the NFL and who doesn't is need and want. Now, Shedeur Sanders is never needed or wanted for anything.
Yeah.
You know,
That's very true.
he probably could have only been a quarterback because he wasn't going to make it as an offensive lineman because he didn't have the need and the want. Like there's a lot of nice guys that go to the NFL that come from safe, stable home lives that don't have that killer instinct to step on your throat on a Tuesday afternoon in practice to be the best person on the field at that moment. They don't have it. And those are the guys that wash out of the league. I don't think Shedeur Sanders is going to wash out of the league, but how much does he need the league? You know, like, does he do it for 2 years and it just goes and does a rap career or something, you know, something that interests him?
Well, I really feel like the Ravens had an opportunity to take him. And I think, you know, with Lamar's injuries this year and so forth, could have that been a good first year rookie backup that could have learned the system and seen what we're seeing with Lamar. Now they're different players, right? Shedeur doesn't run like Lamar, but I think it would have been good for the Ravens to take a chance on him. And there were rumors during the draft that they were going to go there, and they ended up not. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what Shedeur can do. I still think, you know, that Cleveland team has such a good defense. Don't look at giving up 31 points to the Titans last week. I don't understand that one, but they have such a good defense. They just need to find that quarterback and some stability on offense.
I'm not so sure Shedeur Sanders isn't that quarterback.
Yeah.
That, you know, you talk about value. He was probably taken right where he should have been taken. And their investment in him is logical. And let's give him more time. Let's just see, you know. But I think he was probably drafted where he should have been drafted. I was never this first round guy. I didn't think he was a first day guy.
No, I agree. But a fifth, I mean, that kind of surprised me. That
stuff happens though, because like if you don't take a quarterback early, why would you take it in the middle? There's other positions you'd rather fill. The quarterbacks will be there. Yeah. You know what I mean? So once you're not taken in like the first 3 rounds as a quarterback, you're probably waiting till the end of day 2. That's just
historically there probably is a gap there between, say, the start of the 3rd round and the start of the 6th round where a lot of quarterbacks just don't get picked, right?
I'm a firm believer rosters are made and broken with 3rd, 4th, and 5th round picks.
Really quick, Kevin, I just want to give you my top 8 quarterback hot seat list, okay? This is who I have. Are these players going to be playing at quarterback next year for their teams? And this is in no particular order, but just tell me, just agree or disagree. Kyler Murray at Arizona, is he near the end of his tenure?
Yes.
Tua in Miami.
Yes.
They're playing better, but it's not because of him. If you look at his statistics, Geno Smith, Las Vegas.
Let's go Mountaineers. Gee, let's be honest about another thing. Yeah. Geno's made it in the NFL about 10 years longer than I thought he would.
Incredible. I mean, it's unbelievable. But
some of his best football has been towards the end.
And it's unfair. He's on a team it's not a good team right now. But he knew that when he went there.
I think Geno Smith will be the quarterback there for 1 more year. And I think there's a plan there. So I'll say Geno's going to be there. Go Mountaineers.
Aaron Rodgers in Pittsburgh. Is this a one and done, or is he going to be back next year?
Well, it depends on if they can land the space shuttle that he flies to outer space in. What a space cadet. And that may be a guy that stayed about 2 years too long in the spotlight. I don't know. Yeah. That's a jump ball, man.
He does have his moments still, but it wasn't pretty against Baltimore. They won. They got the win, but yeah. We already talked about Jalen Hurts. Like, no clue, but he could be. There's risk there, I would say. High risk.
Can you imagine, Jamie, last year talking about him being on this list?
I know. Well, even the beginning of this year through the first
4-0. They went 4-0. Yeah, he's playing great football. And now he's on a list that he deserves to be on. Like, it might happen.
We talked about this one too, Lamar Jackson. Something's not right there. Is it time to really consider options in Baltimore?
Yes. Yes.
JJ McCarthy, we talked about in Minnesota. I think
Just not.
He's going to be given more time, but
I'm just not a McCarthy fan. I wasn't a McCarthy fan when he was in college. Like,
yeah.
I don't know.
And then 8th on my list, I have Justin Fields. It feels like is Justin Fields or his days as a starting quarterback in the NFL over? He's been given an opportunity on a couple teams now, and it's just not happening.
Yeah. Now I think he'll always be on a roster. Like, we were talking about how rare it is to be an NFL quarterback. If you can do it, there'll always be a spot for you. But as being the man, I think his days are over.
Yeah.
Justin Fields is not the man.
All right, you want to do some picks?
Sure.
Now, in all fairness, there was a game this week that Kevin and I picked, but we did not record it, and that was Falcons Buccaneers. And I believe,
and I went Buccaneers.
And you went Buccaneers, and I went Falcons, and the Falcons won 29-28. We each put 200 on it. So
Yep.
I'm up 1-0 this week. Woohoo! All right, in no particular order, Jets travel to Jacksonville. Jets are plus 13.5. Over under is 41.5.
I'm going to take the over for 200.
And I will take, believe it or not, I'm going to take the Jets plus the 13.5.
It's a big number.
And I'm going to do that for 300. Yeah. Arizona travels to Houston. Arizona plus 9.5. Over under is 42.5.
I'm going to take Houston, and I'm going to stick with the 200.
Houston 200 from Murph. Again, Kevin, I'm going to take Arizona plus the 9.5, and I'll put 200 on it. I just feel like Houston's playing really good football right now, but there could be a letdown somewhere. Definitely the game of the week. Actually, let's skip the game of the week. Let's go to Chargers plus 5.5 at Kansas City. I'll make this pick. I'll go first. I'm going to take Kansas City. No, scrap that. Yeah, let me do that. I'll do Kansas City minus the 5.5 for 200.
I'm going to do Kansas City, lay the points, and I'm going to go 400.
All right. Some positive.
After I just got done telling you that they're buried and they're done and the season's over, I did put 4 on that.
Well, we just keep waiting for them, though. Let's see. Baltimore minus 2.5 at Cincinnati. I can't believe this spread is minus 2.5. Cincinnati just beat them at Baltimore. But I'll go first here as well. I will gladly take Cincinnati plus the 2.5, and I'll put 400 on it.
I will take Cincinnati as well, Jamie, and I'm going to do 200.
All right. Washington plus 2.5 at the New York Football Giants. Washington again plus 2.5. Over unders 46.5.
I will go over for 300.
Murph. I'm going to go under the 46.5, and I'll go. I'll go for 300. That'll make it even and balanced there. Cleveland at Chicago. Cleveland plus 7.5. 38.5 is the over under.
This one's been giving me some angst. I just don't know. I can't put my finger on why I don't like it.
I'll go first while you're waiting.
Go ahead. Yeah.
I'm going to take Cleveland plus the 7.5, and I'm going to do it for 300. I think that's a lot of points to play. A lot of points for a football team that has such a good defense.
I'm going to do 300.
All right. Tennessee plus 12.5 at San Francisco. Over unders 44.5. And I'm going to go. I'm going to do over 44.5, and I'm going to put 400 on it.
I'm going to do over for 200.
All right. Detroit plus 5.5 at the Rams. Pretty good football game here. Detroit plus 5.5 at the Rams. Over under is 54.5. Big number.
Mm-hmm. I'm doing a lot of over-unders. I like the over in this one, and I'm going to do 300.
Boy, Jamar Gibbs is so good.
Fun to watch.
My
Fun to
goodness.
watch. Yeah, fun to watch.
Oh, Kevin, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to go over the 54.5. I'll do it for 300 as well. Green Bay minus 1.5 at Denver. Really good football game here. Green Bay minus 1.5. Over unders 42.5.
I'm going to take Green Bay for 300.
I'm going to go under 42.5 or 300. Indy, Phillip Rivers plus 13.5 against Seattle. Over under 42.5.
I'm going to take the Colts, but I'm only taking them for 200.
Indy for 200 for Kevin. I'm going to take Seattle for 300.
I might go a different way if I knew Seattle was wearing their old unis. Boy, did I like those.
I think I saw David Craig throwing a pass.
I love the old unis.
Steve
Largent, yeah, he caught that ball.
It was great. Minnesota and JJ McCarthy plus 6.5 at Dallas. Over unders 47.5.
This is my 5-star lock of the week.
Right.
I am going to put 500 on the Dallas Cowboys.
Dallas minus 6.5 for 500 for Murph.
And I do want it noted as that is my 5-star pick for our loyal fans out there.
I too will go with Dallas minus 6.5. I'll do it for 400. Miami, a barn burner. This is the game of the week, Monday night. This is the special. Miami at Pittsburgh. What a turd. I mean, that's awful. I want to get excited about Monday night games, not this. Miami plus 3 at Pittsburgh. Miami actually is playing pretty good football right now. Pittsburgh needs it. I'm going to go with, I'm going to go under 41.5 for 200. It's Miami plus 3, over unders 41.5.
I'm going to take the Steelers, and I'm going to take them for 200.
200. Let me go back to a couple games of the week. Las Vegas plus 11.5 at Philadelphia. Philly over unders 38.5. I already said it. I am going to take Las Vegas plus the 11.5, and I'm going to put 400 on it.
I'm going to do Las Vegas for 200.
Two more games. Carolina, the division leading Carolina Panthers, minus 2.5 against New Orleans. It's at New Orleans. Over unders 40.5.
I'm going to take the Carolina Panthers for 300.
And I'm going to take Carolina for 400. And then the game of the week, I think, Buffalo at New England. Exciting game. Buffalo's minus 1.5. Over unders 49.5.
I'm going to go over for 300.
Over 49.5 for 300. I'm going to do Buffalo minus the 1.5. And I'll do it for 400. And even if New England loses that game, I'm still going to feel pretty good about them.
I think that game's a track meet. I think that game's going to be highly entertaining. Pin the ears back, let the offenses do their thing. I think it's going to definitely be a high-scoring game.
I wish they could move that into a Monday night slot or a Sunday night slot. I think it's a 1:00 game.
It is.
Yeah.
It is, I think, 1:00.
So they do have to fix that, Kevin. They put all these 1:00 games on, and then the 4:00 slate is like 3 games, and it's just, I don't know, not good for my watching pleasure.
I always say with a buddy of mine, the NFL always seems to win though.
Yeah.
Like, you settle in for a Sunday of watching football and it'll end. And I'll just think to myself, that was A, very entertaining, B, very exciting, drama. The NFL does a lot more right than it does wrong. I think the scheduling, I think the scheduling stinks sometimes because the 4 o'clocks are just dead, and
but we have to have something to talk about. So let's just, it gives us stuff to complain about and talk about. Allows us to do this podcast, Kevin. Think of it that way. It's a good thing.
so I did want to say this. So I went to Florida with Scotty Watson and we were golfing just to get out of the cold north. And it was Sunday. We teed off at 11:30. Announcements were made on the college playoffs.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you know this. It was verified today through a friend of mine that the initial alert that ESPN sent out had Notre Dame in. Did you hear that?
Was that a mistake or was that?
It was a mistake, but it was sent out. Like I could see some intern being like, I'm going to wreak havoc with the world and cut something loose.
It was funny. I was watching the selection show on ESPN and they said, hey, we actually have the picks in. We're going to break to commercial and give our graphics guy an opportunity to put everything up there. So, boy, that would not have been good.
Well, here was the funny part, though. The topic of conversation Saturday night was, Miami, Notre Dame. So as soon as we got the alert, as soon as Scotty got the alert that Notre Dame was in, we sort of put our phones away. It was a Sunday, put our phones away. And we probably for the next 4 holes discussed the merits of the pick. And then all of a sudden somebody was checking their phone. They're like, it says Miami's in. And we're like, what? Miami was, Notre Dame was in for 4 holes on Sunday. At least in my heart, they were.
We got to get Scotty on the podcast.
Yeah, absolutely. So Scotty is the Florida Gator guy for me. He's the one I talk to for Florida Gators, and he's also my SEC guy. He is very unbiased in his SEC views, and he follows it very very closely. And so usually I go to him and then Scotty's also the Jacksonville Jaguar guy.
So what we have to do, Kevin, next year before the college season begins, we're going to do our conference previews, and Scotty's going to come on and do the SEC with us.
Yeah, and we have a lot of exciting people and friends, and you and I have talked about what the future looks like, and I think that's the exciting part is talking to our friends that are regional, that are across the country. We have great relationships with, being able to connect again and talk sports like we love to do, but get the home feeling, right? Like I got boys up in Niagara Falls, New York. They're my Buffalo Bills crew. They're the guys that eat, drink, and sleep. And I was with those dudes for 2 of the Super Bowl losses. You want to see a city mourn?
Yeah.
God, I would get there on a Friday night and it'd be electric. And then Saturday, all day Saturday, all the bars and everything, everybody's having fun and they're just jazzed up for the game. And then it's leading up to kickoff and they party, they do it right. The fans are all together. And then at the end of the game, it's like a wake. I've never seen such despair.
It's such a good city. It's such a good sports city. They love their teams.
They love their teams. 100%. And that new stadium is going to be filled. It's big deal.
And I'm glad they didn't put a roof on it. Honestly, Buffalo needs the snow. They need the cold weather. They need that lake effect. So I'm going to leave you with a story, Kevin. We got this new dog, this 1.5-year-old beagle. We already have a 6-year-old beagle. So I came home one night and my wife was like, why don't you take him out for a walk? And I said, sure. She said, but just take him out one at a time because you can't do them both. And I'm like, of course I can. I can take them out both. So I take them both out walking. Right. And they're kind of pulling me each way. Well, one of the dogs does a number 2. All right. So I get the bag and I pick up the number 2. And in doing so, they're kind of tangling me up and we keep walking. And I kind of have to do this thing where I flip my arm around here to pull the leash forward. Well, I had the bag of shit in my hand and it came around and it literally dumped on my head. That's what I get for picking up a second dog. What a great day. It was wonderful. It had snowed out. My feet were soaked. It was people were laughing at me. They're pointing at me, and the dogs are just barking and howling. And
no good deed goes unpunished.
I'll leave.
No good deed goes unpunished. If you remember correctly, a friend of ours, Chet, walked the dog once, and that didn't end well.
Yeah, that wasn't good. That's not where this story went.
Do you remember him telling us that story at Vito's? You would have thought he was talking about this life or death situation, and we could not keep a straight face.
Unfortunately, if that happened to my dog today, I would be the same way.
I would be the same way.
But that was remarkable.
Your dogs growing up used to bite, and that used to flip me out.
Tough. Those old English dogs. They were
and they were old, and they loved your mom.
They were our protectors. Yeah, they were good. They were my bodyguards.
They weren't afraid to snap at you, that's for sure.
Now I have two beagles that just howl and play and take dumps that I have to pick up and throw on my head. Kevin, it's always good to do this. Until next week.
Let's not go so long next time.
We won't.
That was my
early
fault.
Next week. We'll do early. We were both traveling.
We had some technical issues, and that's
we got it all
past. Yeah.
All good now. Well, thanks, and I'll see you next week.
Yeah, have a good one, Jamie.
All right. Okay, that is it for the podcast this week. Big thanks to Kevin for coming in, talking some great football. We will be back with you next week. I'm glad we were able to get this whole recording in again. I think it was a really good episode, and was worried when it got cut off yesterday, but thankfully we were able to recover the file, and you hear all the wisdom that both Kevin and I have about everything in life in general. But we'll be back next week. Please follow me on X, Tell Us Ellis HQ, Instagram, Tell Us Ellis HQ. Watch the video of our podcast on YouTube at Tell Us Ellis Media. And if you're interested in joining our podcast, please send me an email, jamie@tellusellis.com. Until next week, see you later. Enjoy football.